Welcome back. Looking at the matters arising from this old conversation and drama that played out on Thursday at the plenary at the National Assembly. And joining me in this conversation is Chief Ifyong Basi, and who is a public affairs analyst. And we'll be looking at this issue this morning on Global Morning. But first, you're welcome to the show, Chief Ifyong.
Thank you so much.
All right. Chief Ifyong, you've heard from the narrative. Of course, you've been following the story of what has been happening even at plenary between Natasha and the Senate President, Godswill Akpabio. But what's your take on the scenario of the sitting arrangements and a reaction to the sitting arrangements?
Okay, at first, what I would say is Senator Natasha owes Nigerian an apology. She owes the Senate an apology, most especially the Senate and Nigerians an apology for that manipulative display in the Halo chambers. So the Senate is not an all-goers affairs. It is an arm of government. Any senator in the red chambers is representing a constituency, is speaking for the people, is a reflection of the people, and she is representing the people of the Kogi. And there's a sitting arrangement, and there's a standing order, and there are processes. So if you, as a lawmaker, cannot follow the process of the Senate, you cannot follow the standing order of the Senate, you don't have any duty to be in that place. There's a standing order, and according to the sections of the standing order, we have that the Senate can rearrange, and it is in the powers of the Senate President to give instruction, and it's supposed to be carried out by the Chief Whip. So they had some level of defection, and the sitting arrangement in accordance with the standing order, Section 11, Section 2, that this sitting arrangement has to be followed. And any senator that is not sitting on their seat, this standing order is for decorum in the Senate, so that you will not have persons. You know how typical Nigerians behave. Somebody could sit on this seat and leave and come back, another person will say, that was my seat. It's going to cause chaos in the Halo chambers. So it's a standing order that every senator have their seat, and you must speak from your seat. If you're not speaking from your seat, you will not be allowed to speak. You will not have a voice. It is not for the male child. It is not for the female child. It is for senators. And every senator, irrespective of gender, must follow that. And the standing order was violated by Senator Natasha. And the Chief Whip brought it in front of the House and presented the case, quoted all the sections, and the only thing the Senate President did was to sustain the point of order from the Chief Whip. He only said point of order sustained, and the whole thing was chaos. The whole theatrics were displayed. You will not silence my voice. Those are theatrical display performed by a sitting senator of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, trying to incite Nigerians against the standing order, inside Nigeria against the rules of the Senate that is to maintain order and decorum. So it was very manipulative from her. She's a very sound and intelligent lady, but that particular display, that emotional outburst, was highly unnecessary.
So you don't think that even while she was displayed, that it was due to the fact that she was being expressive of a fundamental right, which is enshrined in Nigerian Constitution as in Chapter 36 and 39 of Nigerian Constitution, where you had the right to expression. She was saying that I was not informed, I was not written officially. I'm just getting to find out that my seat has been moved and I've been moved out of this seat. And she was reading an act on the Senate, even if you listen to her keenly, and she was to that extent, should we say that she was being manipulative?
Okay, it was before the case was brought up by the chief whip in the house. That means there's a backstory that she did not want to sit on that seat. So it was not at that particular incident they told her to leave her seat. She was already informed by the chief whip that your sitting arrangement has been changed because of their defector. She was not the only person. We have Senator Ned was changed. Even late Senator Ifayoba seat was changed, and they all complied. Why must it be Senator Natasha? So it was an issue brought before the House. So the Senate President, as the umpire of the House, was listening to the complaints and the points of order raised by the chief whip of the House. He was only listening, and he only said, intervene, and said, point of order sustained. She started raising her voice, quoting Constitution. So it is
but point of order sustained is equivalent to, madam, we don't want to hear you. You've listened, we don't want to hear you.
No.
I've sustained the order.
No, he sustained the order in accordance to the standing order of the Senate.
So, but the Senate rules are flexible. Laws are made for men. Not women made for. It's a generic sense.
Yes. Law are made for men and women.
We're using the men in the generic sense. Okay, let's use your word. Laws are made for men and women.
Yes.
But in this particular context, she was being expressive and trying to say, hey, but when you say sustain, automatically it means I'm shutting you down, don't talk.
No. You're getting it all wrong.
All right, please.
Now, the point of order was raised by the chief whip, and the Senate President sustained the point of order by the chief whip because his point of order was in accordance with the standing order of the Senate. So he cannot overrule it.
But there are privileges.
No. Yes.
Even in the Senate, Senate handbook.
Yes. There are privileges in accordance with the law. So he could not overrule a standing order that has been enshrined in the Constitution. So it will be the Senate President fighting against the law of the Senate. So the Senate President did not make the law. The law has been there already. You get? The law has been there already. So he was only following the rules of the Senate by sustaining the point of order and seeing how the Senator Natasha will now comply to the rules of the Senate, and she did not allow. You see, one thing is, if you cannot get into trouble by following the rules. If you get into trouble by following the rules will bring you out. At first, even in the Bible, they say obedience is better than sacrifice. You obey the rules, and you come out and be expressive about your view and establish your dissatisfaction about it. So you don't establish dissatisfaction when you're wrong. Two wrongs can't make it right. If you say you were not informed at first, as a distinguished senator, you have to follow the rules. That was not a marketplace. That was not a village square. That is the hallowed chambers. The lawmakers were there. People representing 200 and something million Nigerians were sitting there to make laws, and you are there to bring out theatrics and performances. So I had distinction in theater. So when I see theater performances, I've never seen that high level performance. It was a masterpiece by her. So it's one of the concepts by Constance Stanislavski. He called it the magic Eve. It's a theatrical theory, the magic Eve, where you try to manipulate and put people and make people believe that if I was in that situation, that is what happened with Nigerians. She tried to manipulate gullible Nigerians and manipulate the media. They cut the story. It was an issue between Senator Natasha and sitting arrangement. and the standing order, not Senator Natasha and the Senate President. The Senate President had no business in the issue. He only sustained the point of order, and when Senator Natasha was out of line and was shouting and was disturbing the plenary, he had to walk her out. It is also section 53. So it is also enshrined when a senator is out of line, the Senate President has the right to walk her out, because she is not the only person. We have 108 senators. So the Senate President himself can walk you out because the House needs decorum. It is not, you must not bring sentiment, you must not bring emotion to this. It is, law is law. Just like the Bible, thou shalt not kill. No matter the situation, somebody kills your brother and you go to revenge, you've killed. It is against the law and you will go for it.
So invariably you're saying at this point in time that Natasha Akpoti was wrong in all light.
She was totally wrong. She owes Nigerians an apology. But
before you even talk about the apology, to a very large extent, we've seen it is like a ploy by the Senate to always silence her. Like she mentioned, that each time I want to speak, you always silent me. You don't want me to talk. And of course, she had things to say, and she was sent there to represent our constituency, the good people of Kogi Central. She wanted to air her view why she cannot even sit on that particular place assigned to her, but she was ruled out of in such a scenario where it has become a recurring thing, a recurring phenomenon and a common decimal factor. Don't you think that this was a build-up of being denied repeatedly of our privileges even in the House that has transpired even through our outbursts?
So I think some of the backstory I might even pick up of this whole situation is if Senator Natasha was the sitting arrangement was done to silence Senator Natasha's voice. I think it was also done to silence Senator Nate's voice, because Senator Nate too was also
Nate was moved to the heirs of the National Assembly because he decamped from the People's Democratic Party to the All Progressive Congress, which automatically means that the sitting arrangement had to change for Nate. So this was a different conversation. But Natasha Akpoti has come out to say that each time she wants to speak, she is being silenced.
She's been silent. But Natasha's bill is in front of the Senate and has passed readings.
Okay.
Yes, Natasha's bill has been in front of the Senate and has passed first reading.
She has told, she came out to say how frustrated she has been. Her effort has been taunted even by the Senate President, and her colleagues even in the House.
Yes, by the Senate President. As a first timer, she was the chairman of the committee of local content. Her voice has been silent, and she is the first Nigerian female to be a senator in the Federal Republic of Nigeria, and the only female senator in the Senate. Is she the first? Is she the only senator? It is pure scripted. It is scripted. There was an interview. She came up and she said the Senate President was about reading her suspension. When you watch the whole video, there was no reading of suspension in that video. This same issue happened with Senator Godswill Akpabio and the former Senate President Bukola Saraki, where they had issues on sitting arrangement. At the end of the day, the Senator Godswill Akpabio apologized to the Senate. Pure maturity. Apologized to the Senate that his display was unnecessary at that time. He apologized. Maturity. But Senator Natasha was walked out of the Senate in accordance with the standing order, and she never left. And she sat there. Is she above the law? Is that the attitude of a distinguished senator? So senators speak speak through bills and motions. So if Senator Natasha have moved motions in the House, Senator Natasha has passed bills in the House, Senator Natasha has gone to committee oversight, then how is her voice being silent? She has even gone for an oversight with the Senate President. So she speaks through bills and she speaks through motions. She has passed motions and bills in this same hollow chamber presided by Senator Godswill Akpabio. If you check the whole script, you will understand it is a personal vendetta, a personal script for manipulation, for making Nigerians hate Senator Godswill Akpabio. Because Senator Godswill Akpabio was never in the picture. He was only presiding, and the only thing he said was point of order sustained. And Senator Natasha started causing chaos and started dramatizing in the hollow chambers.
Well, let's even look at the support groups that have come out to say that for the South, they've drawn support for President, for the Senate President, the person of Godswill Akpabio. At this point in time, if the support group from the South, women, I say this doesn't represent the Nigerian women. This is not the ideals of the Nigerian women to be rude, even at plenary. And also, we are hoping that we don't get a reprisal from the North Central women also coming out to give support, to drum support for their own. Won't this further throw us into the divide of ethnicity if groups are coming out already to speak in for or against the action that happened in plenary? Even though Godswill Akpabio has said, let it slide, let it go, but groups are still drumming all of this clamoring for war. Won't this further throw us into the divide of ethnic rancor?
No. It cannot throw us in the divide of ethnic rancor. The Senate President is not the Senate President of any ethnicity. It is the Senate President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
But people from the South are already drumming, calling for Natasha to tender a public apology.
Yes.
So people from the North Central,
the South are also condemning the Senate President because of the manipulative acts from Senator Natasha. Same people from his brothers, people from Akwa Ibom are also condemning it because of the manipulative script that was displayed.
Are they condemning the Senate President or they are condemning Natasha?
The Senate President, because the Nigerians were very gullible. They were not fact-checking. The video was cut. Every display, all the media narrative were against the Senate President, who was never even a party to this case. The people from the South, a lot of persons are condemning it. We have support group from the North speaking against Natasha from the North. Not just a support group from the South, from the North, support groups from the West. A lot of support groups have come out to speak against this. These are right-thinking members of the society who have done their fact-checking and they have seen, and they are not gullible and they are not emotional about issues, logical issues. Full video, well displayed, you could interpret and could see everything that happened in the video.
So even if the Senate President have come out to say, let it slide.
Yes.
Let her be pardoned. Let the conversation end.
Even the Senate President is coming in to make such conversation.
He has said that.
If the Senate President is coming out to make that, it is because of the maturity and he has for the House. He just want to maintain decorum and unity. Because Senator Natasha owes Nigeria an apology and owes the Senate an apology. It was an unruly behavior. It was not a distinguished behavior.
Okay, so you're saying in turn that if the North Central constituency, which is the Kogi Central, which she represents,
her senators from the Kogi has condemned.
The Kakus from Kogi did not outrightly come out to condemn. We've seen her constituents, a lot of people were proud of her actions. Because we've seen Godswill Akpabio called, there was a time where, if you can recall, Godswill Akpabio made mention when she was given a chance at plenary to express herself. And Senator Godswill Akpabio openly said that this is not a nightclub. I think you can recall that particular statement. Now, if that was done in the open, now she has come out to say yesterday, even on a show on a live TV, though she was not present, but she was put, a phone call was put through to her. She was able to give a side of the story, even though she said openly that
she totally lied.
I would want to say that she lied.
No. You can. There are facts to that.
Are you saying that Godswill Akpabio did not say that this was not a nightclub?
Yes, it's not a nightclub.
What was the retrogressive effect of that particular statement?
Is the Senate a nightclub?
No, what was the retrogressive effect of that conversation?
No.
Now, this for one would think that this is a parallel conversation.
The Senate is not a nightclub.
Okay.
The Senate president was totally right.
So when you say when a distinguished senator is making a statement, and the Senate president outrightly say this is not a nightclub, invariably. But interpretatively, let's look at it from interpretative perspective, right?
That men and women goes to a nightclub and shout at their voice.
So when you hear the Senate president tell a distinguished senator in the Halo chamber that this is not a nightclub, what does it infer?
That this is a place of law and order. That
is invariably
you don't talk anyhow.
You are a member of a nightclub and you might be patronizing that nightclub.
No. A nightclub is a
place where people shout, like you have defined.
Yes.
People raise their voices. Yes. And in the light of that conversation, she was likened to raise her voice. So not in order concomitantly in association to that particular line of thought, that you must have been patronizing the nightclub to be able to know how to raise your voice.
No. The case is down.
Okay, please.
Now, the Senate president brought out a comparative analysis that the Senate is not in it.
But there are other, you would have used the Senate is not a prayer house.
No.
The Senate is not a prayer house. The Senate is not. The Senate is not.
As an individual, you have the right to use your expression.
But the aftermath of that thought
was because of the manipulative script again displayed by the same senator.
So the aftermath of that thought on her as a person, as a female, representing a constituency, what right does that as a senator representing Kogi Central, what does that speak, what does that interpret to a constituent at that point in time?
Yes, the interpretation is very simple.
That your senator is a nightclubber.
No. Okay. It interprets that your senator must speak in accordance to the standing order.
So invariably, her voice is loud.
Yes.
She's raising her voice. And nightclubbers raise their voice. So let's go back to inductive reasoning at this point in time. Let's go inductive reasoning.
Inductive reasoning. Yeah. Now, at the point now, there are a lot of perspectives to that.
Okay.
So if the Senate president used the word you're not in church, the people start really religious meaning to it.
That's you say you're not in a religious center. You would have said the prosperity
there is no word the Senate president would have used that
other adjective would have been used to qualify that particular action. Yes.
But the best
possible thought of line
was a nightclub.
And you think
at that point,
and you think that our action right now
is a nightclub. Is that both male and female?
Both male and female.
But you understand?
But it is believed that distinguished senators will
even American senators go to nightclubs.
You can say that in America, but you know the perception that's associated with nightclubs in Nigeria.
We are being too emotional about issues. Okay. People go to nightclub for what? For relaxation. Do they kill in the nightclub?
If they go for relaxation, they don't shout.
They don't shout.
People go to lounge or to bars for relaxation.
Yes. Do you know why they shout in nightclubs? Because the music are loud. Okay. So you unconsciously shout.
So when you shout, are you relaxing?
You might be relaxing.
I shouting.
It depends on people have different ways they derive pleasure.
Okay.
So when you go to a nightclub, you sit down relaxed. You enjoy yourself, and when the music is loud, you can decide to talk to your person. You might not hear, you might shout. Okay, so and there are no rules in the nightclub, but there are rules in the Senate. So what the Senate actually meant was, this is a place of law and order. You don't talk anyhow. Okay, so why are we not going in that context, and we are going to read meanings to it, to cause chaos in the Senate, to cause hatred to the Senate President, to make Nigerians see the Senate President as being against the girl child. Well, at the end of the day, we have senators in the Federal Republic. We don't have male senators. We don't have female senators, because if you check the suffix, it is senator this. It is not male senator this. It is not female senator this. They are distinguished senators. Everybody are equal. But at that point, the Senate President is a presiding officer.
Well, let's look at the prefix again. Senator Natasha.
Yes.
Senator Natasha.
Yes.
You are not. This is not a nightclub. Now,
what was?
Okay. So let's even move away from that conversation. Let's see that we'll dwell long on that conversation. Now, this looks like a piled up or a build up of what has been transpiring, of our bid. Probably because the way she sounded, it seems as though. But my concern right now is the matters that are arising even right now, and you are even saying that she needs to apologize to the Senate. Yeah. She needs to apologize to Nigerians.
She's not apologizing because of any interpretation or any sentiment. You get it? I am not coming out here to bring some sentiment, some illogical fact, or some emotional fact to say that is the reason she has to apologize. The reason she has to apologize because she broke the sections and rules of the standing order of the Senate. You get it? So when you break these rules and suspension don't come, you have to apologize. So why? Because first you cost 200 and something million Nigerians their voices at that time. When Senator Natasha is talking when she's not supposed to talk, you have 109 senators there, they cannot also talk. So who are representing 200 and something million Nigerians. So she has silent voices of 200 and something million Nigerians as she's shouting and making noise. So she has to apologize to Nigeria.
But the Senate President has said, let it slide.
I'm aware of that. It should slide. Let her come out openly and make an open statement and apologize.
It was the Senate President.
Those theatrics.
It was the Senate President that was presiding. It was the Senate President that accusation and counter-allegations were being labeled on.
Because
it was the Senate President that you said was being manipulated. And the same Senate President have come out to say, hey, let it go.
No.
And Nigerians are still saying no, she must apologize.
Yes, I am saying that.
Not just you, Nigerians across board are saying that she must apologize. Is it not to say that because she is a female, that's why she's been demeaned?
No. In the Senate, I've said it already now. She's a senator, distinguished senator.
If she's a male senator, like you said, there are both female and male senators.
Yes.
So let's put it on gender context. Let's put it on gender context. Let's build it on gender context. We've seen incident that happened even in the Nigerian. We've seen incident that happened in the Nigerian Senate.
There are no privileges for gender in the standing.
Okay, so there's no standing. Okay, let's go by the books.
Yes.
We've seen incident that happened in the Nigerian Senate, yes. And we've seen chaos or state of almost anarchy even in the Nigerian Senate. We've seen chairs being thrown.
Yes. Is it
arguments?
It has never happened.
Hold on. We've seen that's what when two brothers go into the room and come out and they don't fight. They didn't tell themselves the truth. We've seen prior to this time, Senate argue. Almost to the point where the plenary becomes so rowdy.
I told you there was a case where Senator Godswill Akpabio, this same sitting arrangement, he apologized because he's a right-thinking member of the society.
But I'm saying that at this point, when the Senate President now presiding over the House now comes out to say, let it go.
Nigerians are coming out, and Nigerians are coming out. Is it not that Nigerians have
ulterior motive to destabilize the Senate.
No, you can't say Nigeria have ulterior motive. When one member silenced the voice of 200 and something million Nigerians, you have senators representing 200 and something million Nigerians, and one member got up and start making noise and start shouting and start being manipulative. She has silenced the voice of 200 and something million Nigerians, and Nigerians and groups are coming out together to say let her apologize for being manipulative for in the Senate. So it is our duty to also check the Senate. They have check and balances. The Senate is checking the executive. You understand? While Nigerians and we here, courts of public opinion are also checking behaviors. So we say Senator Natasha'S has to apologize because she has silenced voices, she has manipulated the Senate, she has manipulated Nigerians, she has tried to play a script to cause chaos, disunity, and disorderliness in the Senate. She has to apologize to Nigerians so that we can move forward.
Well, in the coming days, we will see what happens even with this conversation, even from the Nigerian Senate. But at this point, I want to say thank you so much, Basi Ifyong, for finding time to be with us this morning on the show.
No problem. Thank you so much.
I hope when next we need you, you'll be available for us.
No problem.
Don't go anywhere. Global Morning continues in a moment.